All right, looks like we're live.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see us. It's kind of weird.
Okay, perfect.
All right, perfect. Rashi says she can see us, so
Sounds good. I don't know. Does it notify other folks like you started?
it should have. I'm not sure.
Okay. What we can do is, of course, we can just go through the question and answers, and people can watch this afterwards and also
Yeah.
use this as a reference.
Oh yeah. There's like a couple of minutes to go. Is the weather like decent in Phoenix, or is it unbearably hot right now?
Yeah, I'm in Tucson, so it's still
Okay.
like pretty much the same as Phoenix. Hot, a little cooler than Phoenix, like bearable at night at least, but still just hot in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have the privilege of California weather, but we also don't pay our prices to live in
Yeah.
California. So
The privilege comes at a heavy price.
yeah, 100%. People get mad when there's a coworker of mine who's from San Diego. She's like,
Mhm.
the weather was too hot last week. I'm like, what are you complaining about? It's 100 here. And she's like, we pay a lot of taxes to get that weather. So
Yeah, it's something that we contend with every day. Even in the Bay, the weather is great, but the prices are. It's definitely. I'm sure. I mean, depending on what questions we get, I think. So you've lived pretty much. So you went to school in Purdue, you said, and then you've
yes,
lived in Arizona ever since.
yes, pretty much.
Okay.
Went to Purdue, graduated in 2019, lived in Phoenix right after graduation, started a job there with a small firm.
Hmm.
Worked there for almost 2 years and then moved on to Tucson,
Okay.
um, and been living here since then.
All right. All right. That's cool. So that's still a pretty um, what 7, 8 years, 10 years that you've
No,
been.
actually, 6 years now,
Mhm.
2024 to 2019, 5 years
Okay.
in
Yeah.
Arizona, 5 years in Arizona.
5 years in Arizona.
It's nice. It's comfortable, except for the
Mhm.
weather, of course. Easy to commute, and
Yeah.
it's just a different vibe. Plus, like within 2 hours, you can get into mountains and enjoy the
Mhm.
cold weather. Um, and then 4 hours to Grand Canyon. You can't beat that. Um, there's a lot of things to do, of course, as like people from Dallas or people from states like Texas or some Midwest states, they get really surprised after coming here that we have the access to all these cities and to all these places. Um,
Mhm.
Beautiful cities, beautiful mountains, a lot of cold places as well to ski, to have fun, to live in cabins. So people definitely enjoy both kind of things here.
Right. It's awesome. All right. It's 9:01. Should we wait a couple of minutes, maybe?
I think we can start rolling, and then once we are
Okay.
conversing, we can take questions. However,
Perfect.
they come in.
All right. Perfect. So let's start. Hello, everyone. If you're joining us from India. Good morning if you're joining us from the US. Good evening. My name is Tanay Gokhale. I'm the community reporter for India Currents magazine. We have been a magazine for the magazine has been around for the past for more than 3 decades, and we cover stories about the Indian American diaspora. We're based in the Bay Area, but we cover stories from all over the US. And this is a very special session. We have with us I guess, an education influencer, a YouTuber, Parth Vijayvergiya, who is going to talk to us about the transition from India to being a student in the US. I have been through that transition. Parth has a couple of other people on our team also have, and we all decided that this is a very important step in every international student's life, just getting used to this new environment. So yeah, without much ado, I won't take up any more time. Parth, maybe you could start by talking a little bit about yourself and how your transition was in the early days.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I started my journey in the US in 2017 when I went to Purdue for my construction management master's degree. Finished that in 2 years. It was a very new country, a new world altogether, right? Like I lived in Thailand for a while, but the East and the West is completely different in terms of people, infrastructure, how things work here. And no matter how many TV shows and movies or uh, content you can watch about the US, you just can't get that vibe until you come here and like live it for yourself. So when I came to the US, it was new for me. Everything was a challenge. Everything was fresh. It was exciting. Um, it was a breath of fresh air, and it was scary as well because the cops and the dollar and um, the stories about mugging and gun control and all of that just scares a new student for sure. Luckily, I was documenting all of my journey back then. So, all of those videos are on my YouTube right now. It's fun to watch that journey, watch me go through that journey in 2017 when I came here. Look at those videos when I was young. Um, After that, after 2017, 18, and 19, after doing my master's in Purdue, I've been working in Arizona for 5 years now. I work in construction, so I work for different contractors. Um, Basically, we do commercial buildings, hospitals, public spaces, public media facility, schools, fire stations, anything which you can think of. Um, our company would build that, and I am a manager helping them succeed in that.
Right. I think we're going to get a lot of questions about internships and how to get a job in this market. Also, just the general settling into work life in the US later on. But for starters, let me start by asking you a question. What was the first week like, or first 10 days when you landed? What did you know about the country before you came here? What were the biggest challenges in the first 10 days, and what would you recommend people do right when they get to the US?
Yeah, I think the first few days is, of course, just getting everything together. You're coming from a life which is already set up for you by your family or by your friends, or you move to a new city for your college, but your life's already set, and you're uprooting yourself and moving to a different place altogether in two suitcases, right? Two 23 kg suitcases, and that's all you can take in a carry on. They're not even allowing like two separate carry ons now. It all has to be one for a lot of airlines. So you're uprooting everything and you're trying to figure out how to shop, how to get around the campus, how to buy furniture for your apartment because the apartment I moved into first day wasn't even furnished, right? It was unfurnished apartment. The only lights it had was the lights in the kitchen. So we had to go to Walmart right then and there and get some of the lamps for our bedroom and the living spaces for the living room. It was a culture shock, and it's a culture shock for a lot of people who like land at 4 p.m. let's say, or 5 p.m., get to their apartment and there's no lights in there. They were expecting that there is nothing there, and they're just confused how to tackle that situation. So then the orientations next day, it's just so overwhelming. Everything's going on that same week, while other students or some of the seniors are telling you that, hey, the job market might not be as good as you were thinking. uh, it's overwhelming at
Yeah.
best. The easiest way to put it, it's overwhelming for each and every student. And if you can get through it, you can get through a lot of things in life.
Mhm.
But that first month is definitely the hardest.
Right. Are there any sort of top five list of top five things that you think everyone should prioritize sorting out once you get here?
Yeah. So first things would be your finances, right? Like your fees would be the priority um, when it comes to like enrolling yourself into the university, and then paying off the fees would be a priority. So if you haven't done that, do that. Open a bank account. It could be Chase, it could be Wells Fargo, it could be a credit union which is around your university campus. But you should be doing that first. Figure out how you're going to pay your fees. If you have to get your money transferred into a new bank account, you can do that. The second thing is attend any of the orientations which are held by the university campus. Why? Because all of these like university orientations are really useful for international students. They tell you what to do, what not to do. They'll tell you if there's like a public transportation card which the university is going to give you, and a lot more information. Plus, you're going to meet a lot more people. Right now, you just know maybe a few people who are living with you in the apartment, or some people from your department. But international student orientations is a place where you can meet a lot of people and like kind of get used to things. Third thing is figure out food. That's the biggest priority, right? Like even though you might get some food from home, you might have some things packed away, like go to a Walmart or like Aldi or um, I'm just trying to think, or Albertsons, or there's like a bunch of grocery stores at different Trader Joe's, different places in different states, right? Go to that grocery store and get some of the groceries for yourself. It could be bread, it could be cheese, butter, milk, just the basics. Why? It will help you like start figuring out your own breakfast, own lunch, and get like plates and cutlery. So do some shopping for your apartment as well. Just get the basics for the kitchen, right? Like pots and pans. That's a basic thing which you would need every day. You don't want to struggle for like first 5 days when you get here. I'd rather just do that the second day, get everything sorted, and then like struggle for the next 3 4 days, or uh, for the first few months when I come in. That
Right.
would be the third one or the fourth one. And then the last but not the least is just make friends. I think talk to everybody who you are meeting for at your campus, right? These are all the people who are in the same boat with you. There might be
Mhm.
some folks who are just international enrollments, right? Like you. There might be some folks who are American who are joining your program. Get to know them, get to understand what their psyche is, what things they are get taking part in. They might know something you might not know. Visit the campus. Like I used to take so many walks around the campus. It was fun. It got me to like understand the campus a little better, where things are, figure out your health insurance stuff, um, get the card. There might be like a health facility at your university campus. Figure all of that thing out. And Tane, if you want to add some points to here, uh, I would encourage you to do that. You went through this journey as well, so.
No, I think you're covering. I think you're doing a great job of covering all of my pain points when I got here. So it's revisiting my trauma. You're speaking. Just kidding. But I think Kinjal has a couple of questions. You mentioned getting the bank set up. She asks, how does one choose a bank, and what are the factors to consider? And she also wants to know if students should prioritize getting a credit card, because that's something that's different from the way things operate in India, right? Credit cards aren't that common or that essential in India. So you could just speak about that for a while.
If you're under 25 in the US, they won't charge you a fees. Or if you're in a college, also, they won't charge you a fees for a bank account. A lot of times, like bank accounts do charge fees, um, unless you have like a direct deposit set up from your paycheck. But if you're a college student, they won't charge you fees for at least the first 2 years you're in college, or the 4 years if you're doing a bachelor's degree. Now, my advice for you is choose a bank account which is on your campus, which is easily accessible. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to travel. Like, let's say somebody says that Chase is good. Chase is a good bank, but the Chase Bank, like the branch of theirs, is like 15-20 minutes of a bike ride, or 10 minutes by car. You wouldn't want to choose that. Why? Just because if you have to do anything, you don't want to go take the Uber or take a cab or take your bike and ride it all the way to Chase. So go to a bank which is most accessible, because let's say if you want to take out some cash, the ATM will be there. And bank accounts usually charge ATM fees as well if you're taking out money from a different ATM. So let's say if you have a Wells Fargo account or a Bank of America account and you're taking out money from Chase account or a Chase ATM, they would charge you a little bit of fees. We don't want to pay that. We don't want you to lose any money when you're an international student. When it comes to credit card, as an international student, honestly, you don't have a social security number. So the credit card which you need to like think about is a credit card without SSN. There's multiple options now. There's options in which you can get from India. There's options which you can get when you here. For example, in India, Zolve and Neo is a good option for credit cards. They're US credit cards, but you can get it when you're in India itself. And then when you come to the US, there's like First Card. There's a company called Adro that also offers a credit card for international students. If you had some credit history in India, and you want to carry that over to the US, you can apply for a card for an American Express through Nova Credit as well. And that card, um, what do you call that? You do need a SSN for that. So most of the credit cards you do need a SSN for, but there are some student-friendly credit cards which you can get without social security number. And you can only get a social security number if you have a on-campus job.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something that I found out the hard way, because for a long time I mean I had an SSN, but I did not have a credit card because in India I never had a credit card, and it was later when one of my roommates found out from a friend of his, as these things always work out, that you need to build up your credit history as you go along, because
Yeah.
mm, when you want to buy a car, when you want to for some rental applications, it always helps to have score, and the more credit cards you have, the better it is, and it takes some time to build it up. But as soon as you have an SSN, I would recommend, and our university also recommended, to get a credit card going as soon as possible. Uh, all right, and then she's Kinjal also asks, I've heard a lot about safety concerns around campus and the city. What are some things to keep in mind or precautions to take? And I think I live in the Bay Area, and I went to school in the Bay Area, so I think this is a really important question. So, Parth, take it away.
How's your experience in the Bay Area with safety? Why don't you share it and then I'll share mine?
Sure. I think to your point about attending orientation, that helped me a lot, because the international office was very good about that. They told us, even when I was in India, they had already communicated to us the safety concerns. We have an alarm. Most universities, I think, has a campus alarm system where you get automated emails every time there's an incident, every time some suspicious activity is seen. Um, so I went into the program very well prepared. For the first couple of weeks, I'd say it was a bit of a culture shock to see a lot of the Bay Area is known for its housing crisis, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
unhoused people. There's also a lot of, I mean, it's a very politically charged place, so opinions always run high. So you always need to be careful about how you talk about these things and how you approach approach these issues. So for the first couple of weeks, it took a little getting used to. My personal experience has been pretty pleasant. I know that that is not at all a universal experience. I know a lot of people who've had terrible experiences, but for the most part, in my experience, most people are harmless. But crimes of opportunity is something that you have to be careful about. So when it comes to safety, I think never leave your stuff unattended. It could be you could be at a cafe working on your laptop, and you just get up to go get your drink. Robberies take place in the few seconds that it takes you to get up, get your drink, and get back. Someone can come in, grab your laptop, and run away. So I think it's really about minimizing the chances where someone could rob things or someone could attack you. Just be safe. Follow a buddy system if you're walking home late at night or walking to campus late at night. Uh, Most college campuses are probably safer than the city, but yeah, I think I'm rambling now. But what was
No,
yours?
that's great points. I think my experience was very different because I was in a small city. It was a college town, right? A college town safety is way different than like a big city university experience. So I was in West Lafayette, a small town in Indiana. Everything's about that town is Purdue. The campus takes over the whole town. Um, Everybody knows Purdue. Every bus has Purdue. Every business is related to Purdue there. So it was a very different experience. So I didn't face like the safety issues which you guys are talking about. Of course, like I've been to Atlanta, I've been to Tempe when I was living in Phoenix, right? Tempe is where ASU is, Georgia Tech is in Atlanta. Um, there have been so many incidents in Tempe, in Atlanta, even like other cities, right? If you let's say talk about Orlando or Miami, if you're going to those kind of cities, or the North Carolina area. If your university campus is in a big city, there are chances that there are going to be incidents. It's just the nature of things. If you're going to a college town, like a small college town, there are very few chances or less chances for it to happen.
Hmm.
It's not impossible, it happens, but it's less chances. So again, buddy system is great. Make sure you get all the notifications on what's going on campus. Uh, and the biggest thing is like if there's any facility given by the university, which is like they'll give you shuttles to go back home from the university campus if you're working at late. I know I was interning at Brown University one summer, um, and there were some girls living who went to Rhode Island School of Design, some architects, and they used to always take the college like shuttle if they're working late at night, because even though Rhode Island, um, that Providence area is really small and bunch of colleges, it was still unsafe, and they would always prefer the taking the shuttle back to the house. It was way safer. All they had to do is wait for that. So if you can do that, that'll help you alleviate um, some of the situations you might end up in.
Yeah, university shuttles always
Yeah.
also highly recommend that. Now, there's a couple of questions specific to your field, construction management. We
Okay.
had earlier about why do you go to school for construction, and another question is what is the situation in the job market in the field of construction management? So if you could
Okay.
just
Yeah. So construction, there's like a few things you can do in construction, right? Like I was a civil engineering undergrad. There was a few things which I could do. I could do construction management. I could do like water engineering, structural engineering. I was really interested in construction just because of people and just because it's like a more general thing where you're learning different types of trades and more opportunities to like explore. Uh, there's just companies all across US which can hire construction managers. Um, it's a big job market for construction managers as compared to some of the structural field, some of the core fields. Plus, the growth is also really good. So that's why I went to construction management instead of like a typical structural engineer or a water engineer or like a geotechnical engineer. Those are too technical for my brain at that time. I wanted to do a degree where I'm meeting more people and I'm like some of my um, like business courses I took during my undergrad would also help me during my master's study. Now, when it comes to like job market, construction's job market affects a little later after the tech market is getting affected. As long as tech companies are building new offices, new data centers, the job market's not going to affect for construction. Construction are actually on the boom right now because we had, when there was a boom in 2020, 2021, 2022, a lot of companies made a lot of money and then they're spending that money to like build
Mm.
up that facilities. So we always have some sort of backlog going on for a few years, um, to build those facilities for them. I feel like in 2027 or maybe even 26, we're going to see a little downturn with construction. But the industry has such low commissions that if we keep having companies like tech where like it's a high budget, or sorry, low budget, high profit companies,
Mm.
uh, then they'll have a lot of money to build and will be fine because as compared to tech industries, construction industry do not pay as well.
I see. So, and we also have more questions about internships. So could you just maybe talk about the experience of getting an internship? So how soon is too soon, or is there such a thing as too soon to start looking
No,
for?
there's nothing too soon. So I was talking to a student, like bunch of students from Duke, last year, and one of the person applied to internships even 3 weeks before coming to the US, and she did
Oh
get
wow,
an internship like within the first month. As soon as she got to US within the first month of being here, she got an internship from Microsoft and she started working there. So those kind of cases happen. It's never too soon. And I recruit for my company as well. The biggest thing we like try to get most of our talent, most of the good talent during the fall semester. We don't wait until spring. If you wait until spring, then other people are taking away that good talent. So fall is where you need to double down and like focus fully in your career fairs. I know it's like you just came to the US, you don't know how to prepare things, how to figure it out. But I would recommend just like get into it, go to all the career fairs, talk to as many people as you can, and then it will be good for you.
right. Could you maybe elaborate on that a little bit? Because I had a lot of friends who were in a similar boat. A couple of my roommates are looking for internships, but as you said, right, a lot of us haven't done this sort of networking, this meeting for coffee and just sending out feelers. A lot of us are doing this for the first time because things work differently in India. So how do you actually do it? So sure, you network, you go to events, you talk to people. Could you maybe give a few helpful tips about what might be good ways to go about getting an internship?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think first thing is like if there's any kind of career fairs or industrial roundtables or some kind of workshops hosted at your university, make sure you go to that. Make sure you have a resume ready. Make sure you have a resume ready, which is the US structure.
Yeah.
So you might have a resume right now, which is like your Indian resume. You need to make it sure that if you look up Harvard resume format, there's going to be a bunch of links, and then the first link, if there's a harvard.edu link, go to that, see the format there, figure it out, and then change your Indian resume to fit that. Plus, change the lingo a little bit because look at other people's resume on LinkedIn. A lot of people upload their resume on LinkedIn, and you are able to download it for free. Check that out, modify your resume according to somebody who you aspire to be, whose position you want to be in, right? So like again, um, you want to copy a lot, copy to a point where it's good that you can go to the career fair and you can present it to the recruiter and be like, hey, this is my resume. The recruiter is like, all right, I know this format, I can look at it really quickly, I exactly know what this person's education is and what this person's work experience is. So that's the first thing you would want to do. Second thing, again, attend any of the workshops, reach out to different people. Don't just look at the big companies in your industry. Like
Mm.
people always aspire to be working in Google, Facebook, Apple, right? Like these are top 10, 20, 30 tech companies, but there's like hundreds of other companies you can go to and apply for, and they're still looking for engineers. So you shouldn't be just like focused and narrow focused to these top companies. Of course, if you are good, you're going to get into it. But let's say you start with a small company, maybe 2 years later, you make the switch because you're more prepared now. some people who come without any experience, they want to get into Google right away. And
Hmm.
yes, there are outliers. There are people who get into Google right away because they're just smart and they're from the top universities, like let's say Stanford or UCLA or Columbia, or go to a Ivy League school. But it is not the case for everyone.
Hmm. Right. I think that's helpful. That and also what you're talking about resumes. Another helpful tip could be, at least in my experience, I found out through my career services department within my university about what the formatting should be. And formatting is super critical because a lot of resumes go through AI softwares, and it's an
Yeah,
automatic tracking system. So if your margins are wider, the algorithm or the software just automatically rejects it. So you just have to be really careful and know the employer, or know what HR or recruitment is looking for, and I think that's really key. Another question that we have is, oh yeah, so that's what Kinjal was asking. Does the resume have to be ATS friendly? I think ATS stands for Automatic Tracking System. I might be getting the full form wrong, but that's
it's basically a platform which like reviews your resume and see if it fits the criteria or the filters for what the company is looking for. It has to be friendly, but you can't like, there's so much technology now. It's very hard to like get through ATS a lot of times. You can try doing your best. You can take some help of Chat GPT or like some of the AI tools available, um, to make it more friendly. Go to like LinkedIn's. So look for the job you're applying for, and then make sure you're including some of the keywords from that job application into your resume. I used to modify like each of my resume based on the companies I want to apply for. I didn't do it for all, but I did it for the top 20 companies I would like to apply for. Um, it worked. At least I felt like it worked, but it was also like pre AI
mm,
time
yeah,
where ATS was there, but it was not like AI compatible. So it's a little crazier now. I would recommend going to YouTube and watching a lot of videos on like how to make your resume ATS friendly and make it a little bit better for AI.
right, right. We have a question which is kind of specific. Um, it's I'll just read it out. Manjula is asking, for LOR, I've only one of my lecturers is still working at my college. What can I do in this situation? The others have joined a different college.
It's all right. You can still get a letter of recommendation from them, even if they have joined a different college. It's not a big deal. And let's say if you're working, I would do one academic and one like corporate letter of recommendation, Manjul. That'll work.
So one professional and one academic.
Yeah. Yes.
Another question is, um, it's again, these are again construction related questions. One is, what are the new skill sets or new softwares that someone who's going to pursue construction management should know about? And there's a couple of others, but maybe you could talk about it. What is the scope of BIM and VDC in construction management?
Sure. There's a lot of construction questions.
Yeah,
I think the new skills is, of course, so make yourself understand the US construction a little bit better. There's a really good book, uh, just like starting in construction management or something, and you can look it up on Amazon. It's like a 500-page book, but it will give you everything you need to know about commercial construction and how things process in the US. When it comes to BIM and VDC, so BIM is like building information modeling, and then VDC is virtual design and construction. Scope is amazing. It's growing. Every company is going to need BIM and VDC resource. So if you're like even remotely interested in BIM and VDC, you should definitely go for it because every company is going to need it. Not to an extent where companies are going to need project engineering positions, but like even a small subcontractor is going to need a VDC resource. So for sure, you should be like at least learning a little bit about it when you are in your course.
right. So just to be mindful of your time, we're at 9:30. Do you mind if we go on for a few more minutes, because we have a couple of questions?
Um, Maybe I'll do like you know just a rapid fire. I can just read the questions and go through it.
Yeah, So
You know,
it's me.
apart from LinkedIn, are there any platforms that one users should use for internship? Heard people use LinkedIn, Indeed.com, Levels.fii. These are a few, and then they of course go to the platform of the company itself to apply for some of the jobs. Um, there's no other software to really like figure it out. There's the same postings going to be on all of these platforms, so not a big deal. Is it preferable to set your location to a major city to help not getting rejected for jobs in major cities? Not really. You don't really need to. If you are really good, let's say there's a lot of universities which are in like college town, including some universities on the East Coast, some universities in Midwest. So if the university is good, the recruiters are going to come to you and not vice versa, right? If the university is like not good, if it's a tier 2, tier 3 university, then yes, you would want to be like maybe set your location to like the big nearby city, and you'll have to go for interviews. But the companies also prefer a lot of like online interviews now. Yeah,
The
yeah.
name of the book,
Let me
and then
try
maybe.
finding it real quick, if I can. There's like a um, can't remember. I think it's called Construction Project Management 101 for beginners and new graduates.
Okay. All right. I think.
Yeah,
I think that's is that all the time that we have right now.
yeah, yes,
That's
please. Thank you.
that's no problem. Thank you so much, Parth, for joining. It's 9 o'clock, 9:30 now. So this is a
Yeah,
weeknight. So much for joining. And maybe sometime in the future we can do another one since we have
for
lots of
sure.
questions.
Yeah, for
Keep this
sure.
going. Yeah.
100%,
So
man.
yeah. So if you
Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it. A lot of good questions, and anybody who's coming to the US soon in the coming weeks, in the coming months, just all the best, and it'll be a lot of fun to go through all of this.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Parth. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Follow Parth for more content. Follow India Currents for more content. We're going to do more stuff like this, more salient information for international students, for incoming students, and later on, of course, when it's internship and job season, definitely going to cover that as well. So hope to see you soon, Parth, and hope to see a lot of you again for our next session. Thank
Thank you,
you.
man. Take care.
Bye.